Hello, Human Design and Astro Club. I decided to do an impromptu true crime human design on the Menendez brothers. Um, I feel like there's a little delay. So, ooh, there goes my stomach. Getting a little hungry. Um, I just realized the lighting in here is a little dark, but I guess that's for like this spooky episode. That's what we'll do it for. I wonder, can I share my screen if I'm live? Oh, I can. Okay, cool. Because I want to share my screen a little bit for showing you Erik and Lyle Menendez and their charts. Um, this isn't going to be a super long analysis. And also, if you're here, say hi so I can know who you are. It's hard to see who's here. I have only done a couple lives, so I'm not sure exactly how all of this works. But I want to be able to show you their charts. If you want a more in-depth version of this and also do their composite charts, because right now we're just going to kind of look at um, their charts separately and talk a little bit about their background. And if you want me to do a composite chart and go deeper, I would love to do that. I didn't have time to really prepare for my true crime human design episode that I put out every Halloween. And I really want to get back into this series because I started this series, I don't know, like 6 months ago, but then I have been doing every Halloween for the last 3 years, serial killers. And although technically they're not serial killers because they, after 6 months of them murdering, or should I say unaliving their parents, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on here or not. I think I know a few things I'm not allowed to say on here. So let me try to use some code words. But after they unalived their parents, they 6 months after they were arrested. It's kind of crazy if you look at any of their past any documentaries, the ones that the show that just came out, and then there was a documentary on them. There's been other documentaries before. I've been following kind of their story for a long time. I was a little child when they were born, so I don't know. I don't know what year. I feel like I heard about them a little too early. I was probably a little too young, but I want to kind of like go through their charts. Excuse me. I am trying to also keep track of the time since it's Halloween. I have some other things going on today. So let me just get myself situated so we can so I can share my screen because I want to show you both of their charts. Let me hold on one second. Let me pull up. I don't have Erik's chart in front of me. So hold on one second. Nope, that's not. Where is his chart? Huh. I feel like genetic matrix has been a little, oh, there he is, a little finicky with pulling up charts lately. Hold on, I realized I need to correct Erik's name. I see. It says C and it's a K. Okay, sorry, we're updating in real time here, so things are a little slow, but I'll also be posting this. Okay, hold on. Now let me get both of their charts pulled up, and then I want to kind of look at their charts together with you, and then we'll talk about their background a little bit. Hold on one second. I just want to look up one little tidbit. Okay. All right. So let me share. Oh, that's not what I want. Let me share my screen. If I can get back to you. Now I've lost the whole thing. Where is, hold on one second. Don't need that. I'm just trying to minimize some things. All right, there we are. Okay. Sorry for wasting some time. Okay, let's look at both of their charts for a moment, and then we'll kind of talk about their background story. Okay, let me try to share my screen. Oh, um, okay. This is so weird. Ooh, okay. So hopefully you're seeing this. And I'm gonna be sharing and stopping the share a few times just because the screen's a little funny on my end that I wanna be able to look at some things aside from their charts. So just so we have an idea of their chart right now, so this is Lyle Menendez. He was the or is the older brother of the two, and Lyle is an interesting character. So first of all, let's just look at his chart. Now, this is the birth time that I found on the internet. If for whatever reason you know a different birth time, or this seems to be his birth date, January 10th, 1968. But if you know something else or you found a different chart, feel free to let me know in the comments and I will do more research. But I've been doing research on them for a little while that I'm pretty sure this is as close as we're going to get. And it kind of makes sense when we go through their story. So Lyle might be a 5-1 emotional generator. And the reason why he's emotional is because he has the 59-6, the channel of fertility, and or the channel of mating. And um, that's an emotional generated channel. And he also has the 2946. Um, and he also has my favorite channel, the 4323. But as you can see, he is split definition. He is missing the 8, or he does not have active in his chart. Gate 8 or gate 12 over here. So, and if you think about it, there is so it's like there's a lot of pressure on his throat. There's a lot of pressure on his voice. And it seems from his story that he wasn't really heard by his parents. It's pretty clear that both kids probably had a version of that. And the 4323, the Genius to Freak channel, that can be the fear of rejection. And so I think that he felt very rejected by his father and his mother, but more so his father. He kind of went on a weird, uh, I don't know, I don't want to say it, for lack of better words, rampage. I feel like both of them after they unalived their parents. And so Lyle was kind of the big older brother that he was kind of in charge, where Erik kind of looked up to him. And if we're looking at his motivation, I really hope this is it. It's guilt motivation. And guilt motivation is about fixing. It's about correcting. It's about um, seeing ways to improve. And so when Lyle found out that Erik was also getting essayed, that's what we'll use as a code word, essayed by their father, that kind of put him into a rage. He's also a fifth line. So there is a nice harmony there between the fifth color and the fifth line of feeling the need to save his brother. And so there was that energy of that. And like the 59-6 is all about bonding. And actually, let's pull up Erik's chart for a moment, because Erik also has the 59-6. He just has another additional emotional channel. There's 3740, the channel of community. And so there is a big sense of family around Erik's story. And Erik felt neglected by his father. Erik also has the 4323. Isn't it interesting, the friendship channels that the two boys have together, the 4323, the 59-6. Erik has half of Lyle's channel, the 32. So there's a lot of electromagnetics between the two. There's a big brotherly love between the two of them. I think there's no doubt in our minds that when we look at the two brothers, that they have this this familiar bond with each other. And I think it has to do with the channel of mating. Gate 59 is the or opener. Gate 59 is about bonding. Gate 6 is the gate of friction. It's the channel of fertility. It's what makes babies. It's what brings us together. It's about creation. And the two boys did create a big problem together. So let me just stop sharing for a moment so we can kind of about their story. So hold on, let me pull up this camera back here. Okay, let me just take a sip of my coffee. Wow, we got through a decent amount just going through their charts. Oh, I didn't say what Erik is a 6-2 emotional manifesting generator. Okay, so both sacral beings, which if you look at a lot of serial killers or people that we can just say they snapped, do both of the boys have undefined spleen? No, 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 just Erik. That's right. And Erik was the one that was the most afraid, and probably also feeding the fear from his brother Lyle. Right. So hold on, let me take a quick sip. My hair is like huge. But I also love it. And I'm also just like dressing as myself today on Halloween. Happy Halloween, happy Samhain. I didn't get to say that, so I just want to say that right now, real quick. And so, okay, where was I? Let me see. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning. So this murder of or unaliving. Am I allowed to say? I'm allowed to say that, right? Somebody tell me if I'm allowed to say that or not. So this unaliving happened during in 1989. So that kind of generation, that kind of era, it was really about, if you look at like Wolf on Wall Street kind of energy, it's like all ego. And so there's a lot of emphasis on money. There's a lot of emphasis on power in that time frame. And so the Menendez brothers, they were wealthy. They were brought up in a wealthy family. Their father and their mother lived in basically a mansion in Beverly Hills. And his father was, where was his father from again? Now I'm forgetting part of the background story at the moment. But again, we can do a deeper dive if anybody wants. Just comment that you want me to go deeper into their charts, and we can do that. But his father came here and wanted a better life and managed to climb his way up the hierarchy. I do wonder what his chart is. I should see if I could find his birth information. If anybody would be interested on looking at the three of their charts, that might be interesting. Let me know if you're interested in that. And so the brothers were going through some essay from when they were both little kids, like 6 and 8. And so Lyle was the first because he was older, and there was a point where he had asked his father to stop, and his father then moved on to his brother Erik. And so Erik was going through probably the most essay out of the two of them, especially because it went on for so long. It was still going on. This is also allegedly. I have to say that this everything I'm saying right now is alleged because there are obviously stories from like his cousin. I remember his cousin had testified for them, and there's some other things, and also I'm trying to think of how to say some of this stuff without saying it. So excuse me if I'm trying to like reword some things in my head because I know that YouTube it doesn't really like love some of these topics. So anyways, there was allegedly all of this happening in the house. And it came to a point where when Erik was going away to college, that his father said he wasn't allowed to go away and he had to stay and go to school locally so that he could still live in the house. So obviously Erik had thought he was finally getting out. This is all supposed, okay, or alleged. And so what happened was then finally Erik told his brother Lyle that all of this essay was happening. And that's when Lyle kind of went a little cray cray, okay? Because this is his little brother. He also had allegedly essayed him as well from behaviors that he had learned from his father. Actually, do either of them have, okay, I was looking to see if either of them have gate 10. So it looks like Erik has gate 34. He has actually the full 3420, channel of charisma. And then Lyle doesn't have either. Interesting. Okay. And the 3420 is what um, gives Lyle that manifesting generator energy, because that is a manifesting generated channel. And so, what's super interesting though, as out of all like the serial killers that I've looked at, most of them are manifesting generators. If you go through, I did Richard Ramirez last year. I've done, what's his face? Jeffrey Dahmer. And then there's one more that I'm missing off the top of my head, but you can go back through my playlist and find them. And so what's interesting is a lot of serial killers or people that do these, what we would probably say insane things, have the 3420 are, and also obviously are manifesting generators. So, and that channel is the busy channel. That channel wants to be busy. And although that's not what exactly happened here, I think there's something about having that energy supply to be able to do this sort of action. Gate 34 is the gate of power. It's all about the empowerment of really like the the rise of the sacral, the build of the sacral. It needs to be experienced. It needs to be released, right? And so once it makes its way up to the throat with gate 20, it says, I am now. And so in that time frame, Erik was in deep fear because he has an undefined spleen. What gates do we have to? Oh, actually, he has a pretty active undefined spleen. He has gate 18. He has gate 28. He has gate 32, gate 44, and gate 48. He's only missing gate 57 and gate 50. Let's see, what does Lyle have? Lyle does have gate 50. Does Erik have? No, Erik does not have the 27. They actually almost make the entire defense circuit together. They're just missing the 27, gate 27. So that's interesting. And it's interesting that I found that the pattern that a lot of these serial killers are one manifesting generators and then have the 3420. I don't think that there's a coincidence there. I think there's a pattern there. And I just that channel really has a lot of energy. I mean, it's generated and it has those manifesting qualities right from the throat. It has a certain fixed way in which it's going to express itself in the throat. And so Erik was in deep fear. I mean, look at all of what I just said was going on in his undefined spleen. He's in this deep fear that he's now trapped, right? He's stuck in this situation, also allegedly, with his father. And so they created a plan that they were going to unalive their parents. And so they had gone and bought guns, and they decided that it was going to be on this certain night. They even had a whole plan afterwards that they went to the movies. They needed to make it look like they had other things going on. And so they went in their house, and their parents were in these living space quarters that they were watching TV, and they did it. And then they kind of went a little weird. Like most people would not go and start buying all of these lavish items. And Erik went and hired some pro tennis coach. And it's interesting because they're both emotional. And I think what the rest of us, like as non emotionals, I'm a non emotional, what we often don't quite understand when it comes to emotionals is that they're going through this hope through pain cycle, these ups and downs, and it's a cyclical, slower process. Think of water, think of emotions. It's not just snap your fingers and in the now, like sacral. They do have a defined sacral, they are sacral beings, but they have this extra layer of the solar plexus that's collecting data. And after you unalive your parents, you're still processing, right? And so although we'll never fully know the true story. Um, we think we have as much as we can. A lot of people are actually trying to get them out of prison now, which is wild. Wouldn't it be wild if that does happen? That they've been basically in prison the majority of their lives, and now this TV show and this documentary comes out, and all of a sudden everybody's rooting for them and they're going to help them get them out. Isn't that wild? I believe they're if Lyle really is a 5, what is he? A 5'1"? Hold on one second. Yeah, Lyle is a 5'1". If he really is a 5'1", that projection from that fifth line, people it's the fifth line wants to be do the saving, but there's also a rooting energy for them too, that people want them to be saved. I mean, look at Britney Spears, right? She's another 5'1" example. And people trying to like, they look at her as this like superstar that needs to be saved. So there is a correlation and a thread between the savior of doing the saving and then also people wanting to make sure that they also are being saved. And it's interesting though. Um, if you look at them now, I don't know if you've ever looked at pictures of them now, or I watched the documentary where they spoke in prison. There is a I don't know how to say this in a lack of better words, a rebirth between the two of them. Hard to tell how true it is. I mean, Erik is a 6'2", so during the time that he unalived his parents, he was operating as a third line. He was on the ground floor, running into the fires, literally ran into the house and, shot his parents. And so, and he was the one that had the hardest time with it because he's the one that has the undefined spleen. If you go through their whole process of how this all took place, it was really Lyle that did the majority of the shooting and at very close range too. And so it was Erik though that cracked. He was the one that ended up calling his therapist that also ended up recording him. And that's when really how all of this got out. I wonder what would have happened if Erik never spoke up, if Erik never said anything, because it was that's what, eventually led the cops to them. Because at first they like I really can't believe that anybody bought their story, that it was like some sort of what was it, mafia that did all this. I was like, that's wild. I'm gonna try to keep some of my I'm sorry, I have an open throat. Try to keep some of my opinions out of this. Um, but the two of them have such a deep bond with each other because not only are they brothers, but I said they both share the friendship channel of the channel of mating, channel of fertility, the 59-6. And so, actually, let me just see real quick, where do they have it? Because that is also a factor into their story. So it looks like, who am I looking at? I'm looking at Lyle's. Lyle has gate 59 in his conscious Jupiter. And then he has gate 6. Let me just make sure it's nowhere else. Oh, he has gate 6 in his conscious Pluto, which is interesting. Oh my goodness. Hold on a second. We're about to move into Pluto and Aquarius in November. And it's also it's in the 6.1. It's the beginning. Oh my gosh, if these people get out of prison, that will be wild because there's totally some sort of correlation with Lyle in that gate 6 in Pluto. Wait, hold on. Where else does he have? Because he has the 6 also in his unconscious. Oh, Uranus. Uranus is a wild card. Uranus is about going in a different direction. And that one's in a fifth line. Um, and so that's interesting. Okay. And then okay. And then Erik has his. Also, because Pluto is such a slow-moving planet and they're close in age, Erik also has Pluto in his unconscious Pluto, gate 6. And then, let's see, he also has, gate 6 in his, unconscious Mercury. So that whole, having to tell his story on the stand, that feels very, gate 6 in his unconscious Mercury. He really created a lot of tension and friction in that courtroom. I mean, how could he not? By sharing his story around his essay from his father. And also that mic issue, that was also very interesting. And I also wonder how much that has to do with his 4323 and the Genius to Freak channel and not really being heard. And I mean, this is the first time that he really was able to speak up. So it's really fascinating when you kind of break down everybody's charts and you kind of see what they are. And if you want me to do like a composite chart between the two of them, because right now I'm just kind of like going through both of their charts separately so we can kind of see them as individuals. As I said, Erik is a 6-2 emotional manifesting generator. He has two emotional channels. So also, there was a lot of processing after this murder because he was processing between his 59-6 and he was also processing between his 37-40. So that channel of mating and then also that channel of community, which is all about the family. Where is that channel? Okay, hold on a second. We need to look at where that channel was. Okay, so interesting. His karmic debt, okay, which is your unconscious moon, is actually in his gate 59, and it's in detriment in the second line. And so hold on a second. Hold on. I need to see something. Hold on. Gate 6. Okay, he has it in. Oh, K59.2 is in his unconscious moon, which is your attractor in Gene Keys, which I like that because it explains your karmic debt. It explains the people that you're going to attract to that I believe that you have these soul contracts with, which he obviously has a soul contract with his brother because they were together in this entire experience and also connecting to his family, which with that 3740. So hold on, I just want to read that line for that 59.2. Can we look at that for a moment? Because I feel like that's really important. I'm going to have to go soon. So if you want me to do a deeper dive on this, I am more than happy to do a second part where we talk a little bit more in depth about everything and also look at their composite charts together. Okay, let's look at that line 59.2. Okay. 59.2 is the line of shyness. And it says shyness behind self imposed walls. So his is actually in detriment. And I don't think there's anything wrong with detriment. To me, it just says that we're going to start out at this very specific place and it might not be of the highest expression. Okay. But we have to have these high expressions and what might appear as lower expressions because we need to have that tension in our chart so that we can evolve and grow. Clearly, there was a lot of evolving through his time of what took place until now. They definitely seem like they have evolved. Who knows how real it is because we don't know who they are at the end of the day. That's the other thing is everyone's trying to like identify with these two. They both have defined G centers. Yeah, they both have defined G centers. Actually, interesting enough, they both have the 2946 channel. They have a lot of common bonds, a lot of friendship, like a lot of togetherness with these two brothers. It just it all makes sense as to how this all unfolded. There are also Lyle's incarnation cross is the left angle cross of cycles, and Erik's incarnation cross is the left angle cross of duality. So there's this big, interpersonal relationship between him and us in the collective. Oh wait, somebody said something. Oh, hi, Adrienne. Oh, this story fascinates me. I'm so glad you are diving in and letting me go down the rabbit hole. Yay! So happy you're here. Yeah, I want to do a deeper dive. I really wanted to do a recording of this, like really do a little bit more investigative work. I mean, I've been following them for since I was a little kid. I said it earlier, so if you want to watch the replay, I don't know what time you jumped in here, but I've been following them probably a little too soon. Then I don't know why my parents would ever let me learn about this experience, but I've known about them for a long time. I feel like a lot of people are just finding out about them, and to me, that's wild. Um, but anywho, if you want me to do a deeper dive on them, I would be more than happy to, because I've been following them for a while and looking at their charts, I find to be very fascinating. Okay, so let's finish reading. Let's look at the detriment because that is actually connected to Uranus, and it says the urge to remain in isolation behind self-erected barriers, which allows for only few fertile processes in union with others. Oh my God, prison. This is about prison. This it's this channel that did the deed. This is the 59-6. The feeling that there's no real bond with their family, and that really the bond is between the two brothers, and that there's this isolation that needed to take place in order for Erik to kind of clear his karmic debt with his father. Dudes, dudes, that is wild. Oh my God. I could do a deep dive literally on every single gate and channel. And then if really this is accurate birth times, because I searched for a while and I kept getting the same birth times showing up for them. So hopefully this is it. And it does make a lot of sense if it is. Um, but that was just a wild epiphany that I just had, that there was no real intimacy with their parents. It was all surface. And that in order for basically, sorry, I'm getting really excited. In order for Erik to really clear his karmic debt, that he came in this life to go through this experience with his father, with the essay, to feel that isolation. That then he would then tell his brother that he would need his brother's help. Really, that fifth line energy, that guilt motivation. What is Lyle's view? Hold on a second. We have to look at Lyle's view. Oh my gosh, I'm getting too excited. I'm probably going to have to do another deep dive on this because there's too much to say and I have to go soon. So hold on a second. Let me look at Lyle's view. Holy crap. Survival. Holy crap. Wow. Wow. Survival. There Lyle saw that there was no clear foundation and there was this fear. If you look at them, I'm sorry, no, not Lyle. I'm sorry, excuse me. Did I say Lyle? Erik. Erik was survival. And also, he has an undefined, very active spleen. Survival is connected to the splenic binary. Okay. And so there was this heightened fear with the way he was looking out and seeing the world. He felt like he was the one that was going to get murdered, and that was a big part of their testimony, that he felt that way. And it's because that's the way that he sees the world. And so there has to be some sort of truth to this situation. Again, I feel like at the end of the day, we're never going to really know what's true because the boys did do a lot of lying at the beginning, right? So it's hard to say. There's a lot of evidence, I feel like, that backs up a lot of this. There's a lot of testimonies from his cousin. Supposedly, I think his father was in, what was he? He was like in the music business in some sort of way. And supposedly this happened to another artist, another famous musician. Now I'm forgetting who that was because I just heard about it recently. And I was like, oh, that's wild. If that's true. Like again, all of this stuff that I'm saying right now is alleged. And again, I don't know if we're ever going to fully know the true story between what happened with his parents and really what's true and what's not true. Um, they do seem like they've done a lot of obviously self work, both of them. If they do get out, it will be kind of a wild ride to witness them come out into the world for the first time because they were just kids. Basically, when they got locked up, they were teenagers. What was it, like 18 and like 21 or something? So eh, this I mean, I can see why people are fascinated by this story, but it's so much more clear and even more fascinating when you get to actually look at their charts. The whole reason why this happened, supposedly, is because Erik felt like he was eventually going to be the one that was going to be offed. And so he is here to see the dangers of life. That's what survival view is. And what is his motivation? I'm sorry. I was supposed to be looking at Lyle's and I accidentally looked at Eric's, but then I was like also floored. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Both boys have, or men, excuse me, they're now men. Both men have guilt motivation, supposedly. And oh, Lyle's motivation is power. And he saw that with his father. Power view, I'm power view. Power view is here to see the hierarchy. Power view is here to spot the winners and losers of life. They're here to see that because in the end, or if they're looking clearly, if a power view person is looking clearly, they are able to see how to win, how to be successful. And so Lyle probably felt, especially also solar plexus, Lyle felt he had no choice um, to do this because there was an imbalance, and this is something that I notice. This is something that I can see very clear. The imbalance of power. There was an imbalance of power between the boys and their father, and so Lyle, being the heretic that he is, he had to help his brother. Lyle also has half of the channel of community. He has gate 40. He has the gate of aloneness where Erik, that he feels this pull towards his brother, because not only do they have the friendship bond of the 59-6, Lyle has half of Erik's channel of community, the channel of family. And this is all about the will, because this is an emotional willed channel, okay? It's all about the will being able to provide for its people. It's tribal, okay? It wants to take care, but in a way that there's also loyalty involved. Gate 37 is the gate of friendship, where the 40 in the ego just wants to be doing its own thing. The 37 comes along and says, hey, if you can help me with this, because a tribal channel wants, especially in the ego, wants an exchange. Okay. So the 37 comes to the 40 and says, if you come and help me, I will provide loyalty for you, the gate of friendship. And so that's how that contract comes together. And so Lyle has loyalty because he has gate 37. Lyle has loyalty to his brother. And that is why he had to save his brother. So I have to go. This has been really fun. I will post this on my channel. And if you would like me to do a deeper dive on the boys, we can talk about some other things. Um, or and like do a composite chart. Like maybe we can even try to see if we can find their father's birth information. I don't know. But if this is something that interests you, let me know. I hope that you have a fantastic Halloween. So when new moon Scorpio is tomorrow, it's time to transform. It's time to be uh, allow the layers of self to fall away. We're in fall. And if you like this, please give it a big thumbs up. Please let me know what you discovered as we went through this together in the comments down below. And if you want me to do a deeper dive, just let me know. All right. Bye.